Hi, I'm Johnny from Johnny's Vintage Motorcycle Company in Wadsworth, Ohio. We're here, it's just middle of December 2014 and it's cold. However, we're going to talk about the comparison between the 76 KZ900 and the 75 Z1900. A lot of people make the mistake of saying, yeah, I got a 76 Z1900. That's not necessarily an accurate statement. However, if you go to the Kawasaki 76 KZ900, as we have a couple shop bikes here, you'll notice that the serial number does say Z1 on it. The common thing they have is Z1F, the serial number. It'd always be on the right side of the headstock. Some of the main differences are, starting at the front wheel, you have a aluminum hub where Kawasaki has the black hub. The front brake rotor on a Kawasaki KZ900 is held on with 4 bolts. The Z1 is on with 5 bolts. Notice that the front fork lower legs have a reflector on them. That was common from 73 to 75 Z1. When you look at the KZ900, they were smooth. Front fenders are about the same. The rims are about the same. They were made by Kawasaki and they have a date coating on them, but that's a further thing we're going to talk about today. The next thing I'd like to talk about, since we're going from the ground up, the front fenders are the same. However, the lower triple clamp is a little different, as if you look here, the KZ900 is plain right here. There's no holes at all. Okay, we'll go to the Kawasaki Z1, and we have an option here called a steering dampener. The steering dampener bolts to the frame right here and goes through the lower triple clamp, such as you see right here. Notice there's a boss here. That's a very, very nice setup. At the beginning, at the infant stage, the handling wasn't the best. The triple clamps are a little different. And the main reason for the triple clamps being different is because if you look at the dashboard on the Kawasaki Z1, it goes straight across like that. When you get back to the KZ900, the dash lights go straight up like that. Okay. Now, both these bikes are not perfect. However, the meters on the 76 and up usually had a white shading on the inside, right here where you see the face. And the tachometer usually went to 9,000 RPM. So this leads me to believe a different model other than a 900 or a early 1000. It's still very nice shape. The 76 had a 4-way flasher on it mounted to the handlebar right here. And then we can take a look at the grips. These are genuine style grip for the 76 and up, basically KZ900. The grips on that bike aren't correct. They were normally a waffle grip. So the grips have been changed on that motorcycle. Okay, then we get to the clutch lever assembly. The 76 was the first year they came out with a thick clutch lever assembly. And 76 is kind of unique because in 77 they had a safety switch that came on them for when you pulled the clutch in to start the motorcycle. 76 only does not have that boss. You have a nice cable adjuster here. This is one that we make. However, this one here is improper as the genuine Kawasaki KZ900 ones are a little bit taller than that. When we go to the 75 Z1, we can see a more primitive style of clutch lever assembly. You had a small bolt that went inside a bushing and came out the bottom with a nut on it, and you can see how thin this is as compared to the KZ900. The front brakes, that's all basically the same. We have a little bit different setup here on putting gas in a motorcycle. As you can see, the 76 has a locking gas cap. The Z1 has a latch here, which just goes up and down like that. And then when we look at the basic engine itself, there's a little bit different setup on the carburetors. In 76, we have to synchronize them when we pull these caps off. And the gas tank is flat going across. When we get to the 75, we have some notches here in the bottom of the tank. And also we synchronize the carburetors here on the outside rather than internally. As far as fuel valves go, this is a quality reproduction Pingo petcock. They're a good part. They're not genuine, but they meet OEM specifications, and it's a really, really good part for safety reasons. You don't want a bunch of gas all over the place if you got a bad petcock. Then we go to the airbox. We've got an airbox here, which is made of plastic, and you got 4 individual intakes. Okay, the KZ900 has a locking seat mechanism, and then you have the airbox, which is plastic and has a lid like this. Then you have this thing called the cigar. It's actually called an airbox silencer or extension. Many people call it different things. And then you have the tool tray on the bottom. This is a document tray. The tool tray is down here. And then you have your little warranty book, and you have your owner's service manual. These are hard items to find. When buying a bike, this is definitely an added plus that they have this stuff with it. Then we also, one of the big differences on the tail sections is the KZ is thick right here, and it has a square tail end. When we go to the Z1, it's thin, more thin, and has a round tail end. However, the rear fenders are the same. Then we're going to talk about next the Z1 airbox. The Z1 airbox is made of rubber, and there's no locking latch here. This goes up like that, and this is all one piece. This comes off. This is the grill. However, this is all one piece. And here's your genuine style petcock. Different year Z1s had different color. Later style were silver like this. The early ones are painted black. There's a lot of resemblance to the exhaust pipes. These are genuine Kawasaki pipes right here for the bike. And notice that they start out with the designation KH1. That's Kawasaki Heavy Industries. Then you have 900 Z1, then you have the slash 750 Z2. Z2 very much resembled a Z1, but they're only 750 cc's, and we didn't see a whole lot of them here in the States. Chain guard is basically the same, swing arm is basically the same, and with the exception here, the shocks had the reflectors here for the 75 Z1, where the 76 was smooth. Okay, now we're going to talk a little bit more about the KZ900 pipes. These are a quality reproduction set of exhaust pipes that people are now marketing. And normally, these pipes are copied after the 73 with no writing at all. So these, usually a Kawasaki exhaust for a 76 would say K76 up here on the pipe right here in this area. That stuff's all getting kind of hard to find. And also we can look at the rear brake panel is basically the same, but not quite. Although this should be more polished, this has a plate that says usable range. Okay, and here's your indicator that comes off the brake rod. Okay, so this is the brake cam inside where this arm is hooked up to. Right here is, you have in the casting usable range. If we go over here to the 75 Z1, we're going to notice that at one point in time this had a sticker that said usable range and was smooth. Now there are some exceptions to this, because the 73 Z1 did not have this arrow, nor did they have a boss here. It was just smooth. Well, there you have it. The majority of the stuff is pretty close. As we approach the next decade, I believe these motorcycles are going to be harder and harder to find. But the main thing we wanted to talk about was that they did not have a Z1 in 76. But just keep in mind, when you purchase a 76 and someone says it's a Z1, the main things you're going to look at, if the bike is truly authentic, we're going to be looking at a locking gas cap. We're going to be looking at no cutouts in the bottom. We're going to be looking at a more triangular style side cover. And of course the meters going across, and the reflectors on the lower leg, as well as the black hub. One of the most important things to make sure that the bike is authentic, in 76 we had a stub right here coming off the bottom of the frame. It's just a stub. Okay, this is a much updated frame as to the Z1. Now if we look at the Z1 frame over here, just behind the steering dampener, we're going to have a steering stopper right here with a little tiny pin. It's very, very hard to find a bike that has a perfect pin coming out of here. And notice how thin the metal is and stuff right here. It's not reinforced like the KZ900, as you can see over here. This is really, really thick stuff right here. The Z1 was very, very light there, and it was definitely a change when they came out with the KZ. And one of the other things that we're going to look at, the motorcycle started out as a 903cc motorcycle, and the 900 had 6mm exhaust studs coming out, as you can see right here. If these studs are not nice and they have a big bolt, it can be a problem. If you can find a cylinder head where we still have the nice nuts on the end here like that, and the studs are not been welded or re-drilled or something like that, that's going to be an asset. And one of the other things we're going to look at is on these motorcycles, there's some bolts on here that have been replated. This is re-zinced. They call it zinc plating. Okay, the last thing you want to do when you put a bike together, or if you're paying big money for a bike that you're buying that someone has restored, you don't want to see silver spray paint. That's not good. So the natural polished look is always the best. Both these bikes are just shop bikes here at Johnny's. These, we try parts out on them and test things on them and stuff, but we don't represent either as to be 100% perfect restorations, as this bike here is like very, very original except for the grips. Very hard to pick this one apart. But if you have any questions, or you're looking to buy a bike and you want to know what it's worth, or you want to know if it's the right motor that came with the frame, we can help you out. And please keep in contact, and we'll be in contact with you. Thanks for your time.